We are live on the Worldwide Sports Radio Network. Thank you for joining us. This was a little home buyer seminar between the Sports Hitless crew. We were just talking about whether to live up
you get
here.
everything here.
You get everything here.
Contribute nothing to the conversation.
Give it some time. We might start talking about some stocks because it's going crazy out here.
Mr. Box Officer, how you doing, man? How's it going?
I'm good, man. Trying to make it through the week, man.
We have Greg Polius is in the house. Greg, how you doing, sir?
I'm doing well. A lot to talk about today.
We do. Declan Krogman. Declan, how you doing, sir?
Carl, thanks for having me. First things, shout out to Kobe. Got his high school jersey on. 1 year.
Yes, sir.
Yesterday.
Rest in peace. 1 year. It's a sad day. I still can't believe it, man. I go through days and just wonder, I can't believe that he's gone. Mr. Box Office is in the. I'm introduced Mr. Box Office already. The
you can introduce me twice. It's okay. The people, they want to hear from him twice. It's okay.
Self-proclaimed commissioner is in the building. Mr. Ray. Ray, how you doing, sir?
Good, man. How's everybody doing today?
And Mr. Nickname himself, PTBS, is in the building. I don't know what that stands for. He's going to fill us in and let us know. How you doing, sir?
Hey, fellas. I think Deck set the tone with the RIP for Kobe, Gigi, and the other 7 lives that was lost. But TBS is very simple. It stands for Paul the Boss Spitter. You know, last week on Sunday, I gave you guys premium content. All right, premium content, and it all lived true with the exception of me picking Josh Allen, who was a joke on Sunday night. But hey, you know what I'm saying? TBS is back for some more bars. You know, I'm gonna save a little. All right, I gotta save some, for next week's show. But I got some bars for y'all today.
All right, guys. A quick rest in peace to Sekou Smith. Sekou Smith was an NBA TV reporter who sadly passed away due to complications of COVID. He's definitely a true inspiration as an African-American journalist and reporter in the game of media, and it's a sad day. So shout out to his family, and rest in peace to Sekou Smith. With that said, let's start off with Tom Brady. Tom Brady is heading to his 10th Super Bowl and defeating the Tampa Bay Bucks, defeating the Green Bay Packers 31-26. Gentlemen, what are your thoughts here? Greg Polius, what were your thoughts on the game and reactions in the post-matter?
Well, I'm happy that I picked Tampa Bay to win and they won, so that helps.
Did you win any money? Are you saying you got some earnings in there?
No. I got kids, bro. I can't think about betting money right now. But I think what really set the tone in that game was how the first half ended. And the fact that Kevin King let Scotty Miller get like 15 yards behind him with 7 seconds left, which is just an absolute no-no. And all the Bucks D had to do in the second half was hold on, which is really what they did. Even though Brady played what was arguably subpar football in the second half. But he did enough to win from the first half.
So let me ask Travis, Mr. Box Office, a question. What was worse, the play of Kevin King or the call by Matt LaFleur not to go on that 4th down?
Oh, I'm glad you came there because I was ready to talk about that 4th down play right there, man. I wanted to start at the 3rd down play right there. I wanted to see what the consensus was in the group is. Do y'all think Aaron Rodgers made the wrong call by not running that ball?
Yeah.
Because I just sat here and watched that play like 10 times. I don't think he was going to make it, even if he tried to run it.
So I don't think he was going to make it, but you shortened the length of the field on 4th down.
Yep.
But
100%. He had an open field, so it would have definitely been close. But
it wasn't open because JPP had a nice angle on him, and then if you watch White, he was zoned, but he was kind of spying Aaron Rodgers the whole time. So if Aaron Rodgers would have took up, I don't think he would have got there.
But Travis, back to my question, though, bro. Answer my question.
I told you I wanted to get to that, but I wanted to start at the 3rd down play.
He just bypassed my question like an athlete.
I think he would have got
it. Just didn't answer what I asked him.
Okay.
I don't understand.
I mean, at that point, I think what was it? 4? Yeah, that was a bad call on Matt LaFleur. I think you got to take the points right there. I mean, you got Aaron Rodgers. He's one of the greatest quarterbacks to ever throw the football. Put the ball in his hands and give him an opportunity to win that game for you.
TBS, what are your thoughts there? A Kevin King or that 4th down play? Would you say decided the game?
You know, I'm not going to say Kevin King decided the game. It was a very big blow on the deep ball. And it's interesting because what made Tampa successful on their hot streak down the stretch was we had Brady playing the New England style offense, right, with the chunk and dunks and the catch and runs. And then all of a sudden, here you got Kevin King and the Packers defense looking to play short, to keep the game in front of him, and Scotty Miller just runs right past him. It was an amazing, mindset from, such a great leader in Tom Brady, but also from Bruce Arians bringing back his old school throw it deep mantra. It did come back to hurt him a little bit later, but I can't say that Kevin King cost in the game. I think the game was on Aaron Rodgers, not even on Matt LaFleur. He gave Matt LaFleur no reason to even go for a fourth down, right? I mean, as bad as he looked on first, second, and third down, staring down Devontae Adams, and then, that debacle of not running it or putting any pressure on the defeat. I can honestly see from the 10-yard line why Matt LaFleur took the points. He had 4 timeouts with the 3 in his pocket and a 2-minute warning. The only thing I will say is he probably should have went for it specifically because Tampa's already pinned back. And if you stop them, you get great field position. But other than that, it's kind of tough to not put the ball in your best player's hands, which is just unsatisfactory from a leadership perspective. So, but call it what you want. I put the game on Aaron Rodgers, man. He wasn't good in the fourth quarter. Shaq Barrett and those guys got to him. They hit him like they did early in the game. And he was missing. I mean, he missed his throws. He missed a few reads. He missed an early touchdown on the first play from the red zone. So say what you want. He had a dynamic third quarter, but I feel like he dropped the ball in the fourth quarter. And Aaron Rodgers is probably the reason why they're sitting on the couch today.
Ray,
go ahead.
Travis, I'm going to get to you. But Ray, let me ask you this. Have you ever seen a quarterback throw 3 interceptions in the game and nobody talk about it and they just praise him for winning the game?
You read my mind.
You can't really do that.
Listen, I've become the football guy here. You see what I'm saying?
You see that, right? I was going there. You read my mind. I like it.
Ray, go ahead, man. Answer that for me.
Have I ever seen it? I probably have. I just can't remember. But at the end of the day, who cares? They won. He did enough He did enough in the first half, and when he scored the beginning touchdown to go up 28-10. Everything else doesn't matter. Did he mess up? He didn't even look good in the second half. No, he did, without a doubt. But those interceptions, they weren't costly because I think 2 of them were on the Green Bay territory. So they're pretty much like punts. You know what I'm saying? Defense stepped up, did what they supposed to do. Overall, no, Tom Brady didn't carry them to the W, but he made enough plays and the defense made enough plays for the whole team to be in a Super Bowl.
Special shout out to CJ from one second, guys. Special shout out to CJ, who's on the Weapons Hot Show, a New York Jets podcast. His show is on Sundays at 7 on the Worldwide Sports Radio Network. Thank you for tuning in. Somebody had a point to make to that?
Yeah, I just wanted to throw something out there. Tom Brady's 3 interceptions is probably one of the most overrated 3 interceptions you could think of, right? Mike Evans, 6'4" with a 40-inch vertical leap, didn't get off his feet more than 3 inches on that crossing route. He should have caught the pass. All right, he should have caught the football. The second one, he didn't even look up. All right,
he didn't even
Tom Brady, he had Jair Alexander beat by 5 yards. He didn't even look up for a jump ball. Tom Brady gave him an opportunity. As a receiver, all you could dream of is for your quarterback to give you an opportunity one-on-one. And Mike Evans had his head in the ground. He didn't even see it. Now, the first pick was just a bad throw. It's a corner route. He completely missed it on the inside, which is a no-no. You got to get the ball outside or out of bounds. Not really overhyping it. I think Tom Brady actually did carry it in the victory because the tempo in which he hit and those checkdowns that he made, and even when he had to drive the football on the post routes, Tom Brady showed that he still got the cannon, bro. I mean, honestly, he showed he could make every throw in the street, including the deep ball. So I think Tom Brady was different, which doesn't surprise anybody. So.
Declan, I know you had an issue with that PI call. You said it was a terrible call, and some of the people in the group were giving you flack about it. So
no, I didn't say that. Well, first of all, at the time, it looked like a flop, and then the replay clearly shows he grabbed the jersey. First of all, it's a holding call. It's not PI.
Yeah, it wasn't a DPI. It was definitely a hold. Either way, it's automatic first down, so it doesn't matter.
Dude, I will say this: they didn't even see the tug at the jersey. They waited until that flop is what sold the call.
What do you mean? His whole undershirt was
Hold on. Greg, then why did they wait? Why did they wait 10 seconds to throw the flag? Why?
Right, we can't say that wasn't a late call. Like they did throw that.
It was an extremely late call. Yeah, I was waiting for it.
If they saw that, they would have threw it on site because that's obvious.
Please.
I think if you spot he might have a point. I think if you spot that hole from jump, I think that flag comes out a
That
lot
flag comes
earlier.
out before he even
Let me
hits the
tell you
ground.
why that hold is irrelevant in the game. The Green Bay Packers scored 6 points over 3 Tom Brady turnovers.
That's
Exactly.
that's the big issue. That's the biggest issue right there. The fact that they weren't able to
And
capitalize.
who do you blame? Aaron Rodgers did not get it done. He didn't get it done.
Disagree with you.
Well, let's also look
Aaron
at the
Jones
line.
got to take some blame too for that fumble.
Hey, yeah, he got
Okay,
murked.
guys, I'm
Aaron
gonna get
Jones
to you.
got murked.
I know Rick has to get back to work. He wanted to come give his flowers to Tom Brady. We were
He's
just
just
talking
showing
about
off in the sun and whatnot.
I know, and we're suffering here in like 32-degree weather. But Rick, you want to give your flowers? Shout out to TB12.
Hey, you already know, man. Look, I've been in the chat all year, all season, in the group chats, on the board, man. Week after week, I kept saying, man, I didn't care about the stats. It was about getting to this point. The reason you bring Tom Brady in to Tampa this season is because the Super Bowl is in Tampa this season. It had to be Super Bowl or bust. The man made it. I can't deny it. It's why they brought him in. Shout out to TB12. There's no way in hell anybody can ever say this man ain't the greatest, man. 19 years in the league, more than half the time he's in the Super Bowl. That shit is just ridiculous, man. That's even better than the type of stuff LeBron's doing in the NBA. So coming from
that's debatable.
no.
That's debatable. Let's not go there.
Listen.
Let's not go
But here's
there.
the thing. Here's the thing. We've seen a good amount of
percentage.
guys win in the NBA. Maybe not necessarily at that level, but what I'm saying is he's not winning all the time. And I'm not going to get into the whole winning thing because wins isn't a quarterback stat. I get it. But again, giving the man his props, it was definitely worth bringing him down because they are playing that Super Bowl at home. That's what they brought him in here for, and he got it done. So shout out to TB12.
I will say it's pretty amazing that Tom goes to a new team, and it's kind of like LeBron-esque. You go to a new team, and then the team makes it to the championship round. No, I'm just saying.
That's the thing. When you're talking about LeBron, that's one of 5 guys. So when you're talking 20% of the whole, it makes a bigger impact. This man is one of 22. When you talk about both sides of the ball, even if you throw in special teams, it's even more. So what he's able to do is more impressive to me. So
sure.
Shout out to that.
Thank you, Rick. Appreciate it. Guys, let me ask you this. Last week we talked about Aaron Rodgers in terms of his legacy on the line with this game, and some of you guys are saying no. But now we're here a week later. Does your perspective change on Aaron Rodgers and what he was able to, I guess, not accomplish in that championship game, Greg?
No, because he's still going to go down as one of the greatest ever sling it. Championship or not, or Super Bowl or not. I think this is more a testament to, Green Bay as an organization in the past not really providing what he needed, especially on the defensive end of the football, to get to where they needed to get as a team.
I don't agree with that.
Right. The defense stepped up. You got to put it on the offensive side.
Wait, you said this year the defense stepped up?
Defense was average.
They gave him 3 turnovers. What more do you need?
Agreed, but he's talking about this year. He's talking about
right?
He's talking about
their
the
final score. That's 31-26 or something like that, right?
31-26, yeah.
Less than 7, correct? Or is that 7? My point is the defense at the end of the half blew it. They got the picks, the offense didn't score, but the defense still blew it when they needed it the most. Like 7 seconds left, that play cannot happen on any level of football. Not even in Pee Wee football can you let that happen.
Okay. Declan, what are your thoughts here too? Travis, I'm going to get to you though. Declan, what are your thoughts on Aaron Rodgers and his legacy now after the game?
I don't think his legacy is severely impacted. Obviously, he threw in that comment about his future being in jeopardy, which is kind of BS. He's not going anywhere. It's just a ploy and a little
yes,
shot.
he is.
No, he's not.
He is.
Maybe in another universe, but no, he's not going anywhere. But anyway, let's just give some credit to Todd Bowles in that defense. First of all, they blitzed them in the first quarter. First half it worked. They kind of stopped in the third quarter. They played a little back, and then the comeback happened, and Aaron Rodgers was Aaron Rodgers. And then in the fourth quarter, to me, there's no excuse for you get back-to-back picks from Tom Brady. When has that happened in the playoffs? At all from Tom Brady? You don't see it. And you can't even get a first down. And at that point, we have to look at, all right, Todd Bowles put a great defensive scheme together. The packages were great. They brought the rush, and the offensive line on Green Bay was atrocious in the fourth quarter. I mean, it was horrible. But Aaron Rodgers, I mean, he drives them down the field, and on the goal line, 2nd and down, he didn't go for the run. He could have at least maybe got a couple yards out of that instead of throwing it. And then he throws it on 3rd down into double coverage when he could have ran, and even if he got it within the 5. I'm talking because I'm backed up because all you loudmouths have been shutting me up for the past, 15 minutes. But I'm
so Ray, what are your thoughts on Rodgers' legacy?
Hey, like I told you, I think last week, it was Drew Brees. He's done. But now, Aaron Rodgers, he's on the clock. I mean, he's on the clock now. He's too talented to only ever go to one Super Bowl. You can't say the organization hasn't put him in the best situations to get to more than one Super Bowls. I don't care about them not drafting a first-round pick on a wide receiver. Who cares?
Or a skill position.
Just that matters, though.
That matters so much.
That matters.
100%. Mike McCarthy as his coach, and he had all this.
Just because a wide receiver is drafted in the first round doesn't mean they're going to pan out.
I'm not even finish.
Go ahead.
Tight end. He's had good O-line. He has the number 1 wide receiver. And guess what? Adams wasn't drafted in the first round. So, Aaron Rodgers, I need you to do something, man. You're too great to only be in one Super Bowl.
Did he decide to kick the field goal?
You sound wild right now, not encompassing the team aspect of it.
I was waiting for Greg to make that point because I get shitted on when I do it.
I got a couple points to hit on this, but go ahead.
Go ahead, Trav, go ahead, because I can't hear Paul right now.
Okay. to start off with your original question, because you said I never answered the question, but I said it Sunday that in the beginning of the show Sunday, I thought it wouldn't affect his legacy, but I sat there and thought about it. The fact that he was playing Tom Brady, it did take a ding to his legacy a little bit for the simple fact, because like you guys said, he's had one Super Bowl. So here you were with the opportunity to get to another Super Bowl, defeat the GOAT, and your defense gave you 3 turnovers. I'm sorry, if you get 3 turnovers from your defense, you got to win that game. But as far as to Ray's point about the organization it doesn't matter, them not putting enough weapons around him, it does matter. The man is never, it does, because the man is,
he's had enough.
What enough weapons? What enough weapons? You have one player from the receiver standpoint that scares the defense.
Okay. So let me ask this. Let's go back in history. Last year's NFC Championship, did we not think that the Green Bay Packers were going to win that one either, or no? They didn't have enough that last year.
Exactly. Carl, is the
they were a different team. They were a different team last year, in my opinion.
Wait, go ahead, Paul. What'd you say?
All right. So a couple things. So I can't subscribe to the not putting talent around Aaron Rodgers. Let me tell you why. For his career, he's 126-63. He's only had 2 losing seasons in his career. His first year as a starter, and he went 6-9 in 2018. I don't care about the whole first round stuff. The first round stuff's irrelevant. The first round stuff's irrelevant. And let me tell you why it's irrelevant for skill players.
It doesn't have to be first round.
Their best play. Right, but then you can't say that they don't have talent around him, right? Because Aaron Jones
hold on. I just need to make it clear. I wasn't talking about talent on the offensive side of the ball.
I'm talking both sides of the football.
I would definitely say
lack of talent on the defensive side of the ball throughout Aaron Rodgers' career. And the one time they won a Super Bowl, he had a top 10 defense.
Yeah, but they've also been top 10
side because.
But Greg, they've also had multiple years top 10 after that, right? So we can't sit here and say that they haven't had top 10 defenses since then because they have.
I feel like they haven't. I'm going to look it up, though.
No, look it up. But they have. I mean, me and Declan had a similar conversation earlier this year. Whether you're ranked 10 or you're ranked 13, to me, that's a top defense, right? It's either you're at the bottom tier or you're at the top tier, right? So, and let's just keep it real. We think Aaron Rodgers is GOAT material, which means he should be able to overcome some of these things, right? He should be able to overcome not having a top 3 defense or a top 5 defense. When you win 26 games in 2 seasons, I expect you to be in the Super Bowl. That's just me. Last year, they walked into San Francisco. They got slapped around, right? Aaron Rodgers was looking soft. They was talking about get him out of here, Jordan Love show. This year, they was in the frozen tundra, and he didn't get it done. All those magical numbers for what? touchdowns.
But
Right.
if you
Paul, if
but if
that's
you
what you
look
want
at
for-
but
if
hold
that's
on,
what you want from a quarterback
let me just
to
address that.
overcome.
Let me just address that. If you look at the way that game broke down, those last minute plays when he was trying to force the ball in the end zone, where was he trying to force that ball to?
To test
He had. Are you kidding
Because
me?
he had
He
nobody
had-
else that he
That's
trusts.
a lie. That's a lie. That's a lie.
Now, Aaron
He
Jones
had
was out.
Plenty of people.
Aaron
he
Jones
could
fumbled
trust.
and he was out for the whole game.
He
Declan,
had nobody.
Declan.
He has no dependable
Declan.
players on
Travis,
that team besides Adams.
Travis, stop it. Don't give me that he don't got dependable players. When MVS
He
scored that
don't.
50-yard touchdown, he was dependable. When
And what
Robert
have you been
Tonyan,
doing?
All
when
right,
Robert
Robert,
that's for all
that's
listen,
not
year.
dependable. He
Dropping
made a
passes.
good play.
when
We've also
Robert
seen plays
Tonyan,
when he dropped the ball. They
did
are
he
not
drop the ball
dependable.
on Sunday? Did he
All
drop
right,
the
but
ball on
that's
Sunday?
that's
Exactly.
not always the
Travis,
case.
did he drop
Is
the
that
ball on
always the
Sunday?
case? Is that
Travis,
always the
we're
case?
talking about
Is that
Sunday.
always the case? No,
Did he
no,
drop
you
the
can't.
ball on
You
Sunday,
can't sit there.
Travis?
No, because you
Thank
can't sit there and say one
Because you
play.
lost 40.
You can't sit there.
lost.
You can't
you
sit there and
lost-
take one play and say, "Oh, that's his whole career." You have to take it in totality. The whole thing, he's been inconsistent.
Look at Carl, bro.
I'm just saying,
Just picked
he
up.
has enough. Like y'all gotta stop saying he has enough.
What do you mean he has enough? You
Well,
have,
who does he
you
have, though,
one
besides Adams
dependable
and Jones?
receiver. You have
Huh?
one dependable receiver.
Hold on,
What?
his left tackle tore his
say,
ACL.
listen. I will say this though, Rick last week said that Aaron Rodgers goes behind Peyton Manning and Tom Brady. In terms
Absolutely.
Of he goes
Aaron
behind. Him.
Rodgers is not Peyton Manning.
But no,
You
I'm not
he's
saying
behind
he
him?
is.
Oh, yeah, my bad. I misheard.
Listening is
Sorry.
fundamental. I did not say that.
That's right.
What
It's
I'm
so hard
saying-
to be honest. I mean, Jesus.
Right, but what I'm saying though is for his stature, I think Ray kind of has a point though, because with that expectation comes Super Bowl appearances, right? We like to say that for quarterbacks. The only exception to the rule is Dan Marino, right? Everyone makes that exception to the rule.
We like to say that
Okay, so
for
if we're gonna put them in the same comparison, give me a Hall of Fame player that Aaron Rodgers has thrown the ball to.
It doesn't matter who.
Tom Brady and
Nobody.
Peyton Manning have all had those. So stop telling me the talent around him doesn't matter.
It does.
Stop telling me the talent around doesn't matter.
Travis McKay. He had more talent than Brady's had the last 5 years, bro. In New
What are you
England.
talking about? Is Gronk not a Hall of Fame player?
He's got
Yes
Mike
or no?
Evans, Chris
Is
Godwin.
Gronk a Hall of Fame player? Yes or no?
Antonio Brown. All these
Okay,
guys.
so again, the only person on the panel saying that he needs help, his team needs help, is just Greg. Is that safe to say? Everybody else
No,
is
I
putting
said he
it on
needs
Rodgers?
help. I think
No,
the team
Yo,
I
so
said
Travis,
yes.
you guys think he needs help? Okay.
Is it that hard to hear on this broadcast?
Because everyone's jumping back and forth. That's why I'm
That's what I was
trying.
trying to-
It's kind of hard to say somebody needs help when you went back-to-back 13 wins seasons. I'm
That's
sorry.
different. That's in the regular season. When you get in the playoff,
So
the
if-
level of expectation rises. Does it or
Right.
does it not?
Right. If he went 13-3, then why would they take a quarterback in the first round?
Because they took a quarterback when they had Favre. Like, we got to stop acting like they never
We also
done
have to stop like Green Bay's front office isn't just Philly front office in cold weather.
Oh my God!
Aaron Rodgers
Exactly.
got there. How do you think Aaron Rodgers sat for 3 years? This is not a surprise. Why is
No,
everybody?
I'm not. I'm not.
Tell him why you mad, Ray.
NFL from-
Ray,
Right,
Ray,
that's
tell
not
him
the
why you
issue.
mad. Ray,
Hey,
tell him why
Travis.
you mad, bro. Tell him why you
Travis.
mad, brother.
Travis, did he trust the guys last week on offense for St. Louis? Did he trust them then?
He don't have a choice.
Did he trust them the week before
He
that?
don't have a choice. He
Did
doesn't
he
have
trust
a
them the
choice.
16 games
You don't
before
have-
that?
So you trying to tell me Aaron Rodgers? You put this man on a lie that says he trusts all outside of Adams as receivers. He trusts them players.
You
I know
trust
he
MVS.
trusts Lazard. I know he trusts Tunyon.
He's another.
I know he trusts those guys. Absolutely, he trusts them.
MVS, they've been inconsistent
Travis,
all year.
They all been better than Jacoby Myers, bro. They're all better than Jacoby Myers. Are they not better than Jacoby?
Why are they good though?
Greg,
Yeah.
Greg, are they not better than Julian Edelman?
Right now,
Yeah.
yes, but that's not saying much.
Hey, how can I say much?
Right now, yes, but in Julian Edelman's prime,
Right.
In his prime, no.
Hold on. Are we really
No.
gonna champion Alan Lazard? He's an undrafted free agent that got cut by the
I don't
Jets.
care if he's
Aaron Rodgers
drafted,
made
bro.
him.
It doesn't matter if he's drafted. That doesn't. If you can play in
Aaron
the
Rodgers
NFL,
made him who he is.
That doesn't matter. But to me,
makes
once you
sense.
get in the
Paul
league,
does
I want to see what your talent level is. If you're not producing, if you're an inconsistent talent, there's a reason. All players in the
was
NFL
Robert
are great.
Tunyon inconsistent this year, Travis?
Let me ask this.
In the league,
Let me ask this.
Was
Let me ask
Robert
this.
Tunyon inconsistent this year, Travis?
Okay,
And it took
Travis.
Tunyon to go
All
from the
NFL
Lions to the
players-
Packers to be relevant.
If you're in the NFL, you're a great player. You know what separates the great players from the Hall of Fame players? Consistency. Those are not consistent outside of Adams.
Okay, but let me ask this final question because we got to move on. Do quarterbacks make other players great?
Absolutely.
Does Aaron Rodgers do that?
Aaron Rodgers
Does
makes
Aaron-
Alan Lazard,
It depends.
MVS,
It
No.
depends.
So
It depends.
So does Aaron Rodgers make players around him great?
I gave
I
this
mean,
analogy.
I-
I gave this analogy a while ago. And to my, there are two different types of quarterbacks. There's the tractor trailer, and then there's the trailers. There are the quarterbacks who are pulling it because they make everyone around them better. And then there are some quarterbacks who need to be pushed along because they need to be pulled by the rest of the
Aaron
players around
Rodgers.
them.
He's number 2 on that list.
Aaron Rodgers.
Aaron
One of
Rodgers
the greatest
is a puller.
quarterbacks.
Aaron Rodgers is a puller.
If you need more talent, you are not a puller.
No, that's a lie because if you look
Right.
at
So I
the
guess Drew
receivers that he
Brees-
had in the past and they go to different teams, they don't do what they did when they were with
Exactly.
Aaron Rodgers.
Exactly.
Okay, but let's look at the
When's the
flip
last
side
time
of
we
that.
heard? When's the last
So
time
wait a
we
minute,
heard
James
Rodgers
Jones
make
when he left the
plays?
Green Bay
Wait,
Packers.
wait a minute. So let's look
Randall
at
Cobb.
let's look at the flip side of it. When Tom Brady left his situation and went somewhere else, what did he do? Serious question. What did he do? He beat
he
Aaron
made them-
Rodgers.
He made
With
them
how,
better.
with how
Again.
much?
So again,
Wait, are you
Mike Evans,
comparing the
Godwin,
weapons
and
on
Brown.
Tampa to Green Bay?
no, I don't have to because Tom
What are you
Brady
talking
did
about?
more with less weapons in Foxborough for a decade. Let's
He had
stop.
whole
Okay,
things.
guys,
He had
I'm
whole
gonna
things.
listen.
Carl,
listen.
let me say one other thing, Carl. Let me say one other thing, Carl.
Go ahead.
Aaron Rodgers has lost 4 straight conference championship football games. I'm supposed to sit here and say he lost all 4 of those because he didn't have more talent
so
around
the
him.
QB is the only
Get
one who
the
plays
hell
in
outta
the game.
here.
Now. Cool. Got
No,
it.
he's not the only one that plays in the game, but he played poorly in those 4 games. Look it up.
It's not even accurate. He's not lost 4 straight.
He lost 4
Right,
straight
listen,
conference championship games. Declan,
He won. He
Are
won
you
Super
serious?
Bowls
Straight.
2 years ago.
second.
no, he did not. He did not win. Aaron Rodgers lost 4 straight conference
Oh, yeah,
championships.
Aaron Rodgers. No, I thought
He
you
has
said
not
Tom
been
Brady.
in the conference.
No, I said Aaron Rodgers has lost 4 consecutive championship games. When
He's not saying this year, but
Well,
he's not saying the
fine.
past
In his
4.
career
He's talking about
since
the
he won the
last
Super
4
Bowl.
he's played.
Sure.
Uno,
Okay.
dos, tres, cuatro. How many
Okay.
times are we gonna sit here and pretend? Come on,
Okay, guys. So let's move on
So
to the
same
AFC.
same set
I'm
with
about
Drew
to say,
Brees,
wait
though.
to get to the Bills. And
Yeah.
Drew
So,
Brees?
well,
I'm
listen.
on. Drew Brees is a joke too.
Listen, is there any point to discuss the AFC Championship game? 38.
Absolutely, it is.
I'd love to.
yes.
Okay. Declan, what are your thoughts here with your Bills coming up short in the championship game?
Well, first of all, the better team won. Paul, I hate to do this to you, but you just called Josh Allen the best player in football since week 6.
He was until Sunday.
They only lost because you picked them, because you've been picking against them all year.
Oh, he's a conspiracy theorist. That's the youth in you, man.
You and non in the business. It's a tough game. The better team won. Patrick Mahomes unstoppable. That defense wasn't stopping anybody. That's a team.
Let's go a little bit more in depth in that. You play quarterback, Declan.
Absolutely. So
when you have 5 straight 3-and-outs because of inaccuracy at the passing position, and then you put Patrick Mahomes with the football in his hands, what do you expect to happen to the defense?
exactly that. But even still, Patrick Mahomes put up 38 points on that defense. That defense gave up 3 points against Baltimore.
No, let's not do that. Josh Allen was responsible for 21 of those points.
Josh Allen was the reason they lost. 100%. He did not.
Guys, just let them cook because they're gonna go at it. They're not gonna stop.
He did
they're
not play good. 100%.
Let's reel it back in. I want more from you. Why was Josh Allen so bad, Declan?
All right. First of all, he did not play like the best player in football, like you said he was since
He didn't play like the best player in the playoffs at all.
He did not.
He might have been the worst quarterback. That might have been the worst performance from any of the quarterbacks I've seen in the playoffs.
Lamar Jackson just put up 3 points last week. He threw more touchdowns to the other team. Let's not be ridiculous.
Don't be ridiculous.
That's
You
the
always want to
stupidest
do
thing
this,
I've
Josh.
ever heard.
Let me tell you something.
Yeah.
If
All
the
right, go
Bills
ahead.
had Lamar Jackson, they would have had a better game on Sunday night.
Yeah, well, let's see. That's kind of ridiculous.
That's all I'm gonna say.
Well,
because-
what's Buffalo's defensive ranking? 16th, and Lamar Jackson points
Oh,
against them. Good to know.
you're gonna give us the regular season rankings?
No, I'm giving you the playoffs.
That's what we doing?
You
Wow.
It's okay, whatever. Anyway, yeah, he
I would
didn't
just
play
like-
good. He
I
was
would just like to
inaccurate.
point out. Well, go ahead.
He was rolling out and he was running backwards and taking stupid sacks. Everybody saw the game.
He
That's
looked
literally
like Daniel
Madden.
Jones, bro.
Exactly. It was like Madden. It was nothing like Daniel Jones. I mean,
He looked like Daniel Jones in the pocket on Sunday night.
He
I
actually
would
looked
not
kind of worse, to be honest. 'Cause I don't
Right,
even think
right, Greg, am I crazy?
He looked bad. He was bad in the game. It's fine. He played good. Obviously, he had a great year. This is a young team, you know. I mean, I'm fine with it. I think he was bad. It's unfortunate. The better team won. I think even if Josh Allen was at his tops, it would have been tough to win. That's really it. I mean, but if we're gonna say, that was the worst quarterback in the performance in the playoffs, I would have to go with the opposing quarterback the Bills faced in the division. I'm sorry.
Travis, what are your thoughts?
I would just like to point out how, I was right because there was some who said getting into a track meet with the Kansas City Chiefs was a good way for them to beat that team, but that proved to be wrong right there. But the Buffalo Bills, the problem was not only did Josh Allen not play well, but again, that defense had some of the same issues they had in the first game. They could not find a way to get after Patrick Mahomes with just 4. You were dropping back everybody else in the coverage, but you had no way to affect Patrick Mahomes in the pocket. And then we have to give a shout out to Travis Kelce because his ability to just sit there and find them soft spots in them zones killed them all night long. I mean, like Dex said, the better team won, and this is what it is. I mean, they have a good future. They just got to find a way. They got to find some pass rush, and then they'll be able to get to the next.
Josh Allen is the reason why I won 10 boxes of cookies, and then lost 10 boxes of cookies. So I'm not letting Josh Allen off the hook this easy. All right.
Thanks. I want the problem. Cookies.
The problem with Josh Allen.
Link coming. I got to drop the link for y'all.
Right. It was very simple. Fundamentally, Josh Allen looked like a high schooler on Sunday night.
He had happy feet.
It's worse than happy feet. I mean, he didn't even set his feet to throw. He couldn't even make a 7-yard out route to an open Stephon Diggs, right? So
all right in the first half, and then
he was not all right at all. All right.
Can we give a shout out to the Chiefs secondary because they
absolutely
there was nobody open. There were nobody open.
I'm not gonna discredit the Chiefs. The Chiefs D-back showed me something I didn't think was possible. All right.
But they had a good pass defense for the majority of the year.
They couldn't stop the run. That's true.
They couldn't stop the run.
Yeah.
Which is why they're in trouble on February 6th, I think.
I mean, just like if we continue to just talk about the quarterback analysis for both teams, it's just
yes, we are. You know why, Declan? Because for the last 12 weeks, all we had to hear from you in our personal dialogues was about Josh Allen and how great he is.
Yeah.
So now
all we heard from you, you said he was average, and then you said he was the best quarterback in football.
And guess what? You know what? And you know what? Like most people should do in life, stick to your instincts. Go with your gut. I told y'all Josh Allen was marginal. I told y'all.
Okay, now we think he's average. Now you look like a moron for that. First of all,
he is average.
Go with your gut.
Oh, he's name calling now.
Rushmore.
Now
Call.
Oh, he's name calling.
This is like the chat coming to life.
Unbelievable.
You know what this is? To my black people out there, this is the rock sign. For you, this is A for average for Josh Allen. That's all it is.
Hold on.
It's marginal. So call it for what it is.
He takes the team to the AFC Championship game.
He didn't take the team to the AFC Championship game.
You're ridiculous.
You can't sit there and say he was the best player.
Wait a minute. Wait. You just told me, Travis, hold up. You just told me this same Buffalo defense held Lamar Jackson to 3 points, and the defense scored more points than Lamar Jackson.
That's more of a testament on Lamar Jackson.
Hang on.
That's more of a testament on Lamar Jackson when Philip Rivers
wasn't good last week either.
24 points and almost beat them.
Josh Allen.
That's a testament on Lamar Jackson, and everybody can see it. It's not that hard to see.
So could I be honest? So Josh Allen is what now 3-4 in the playoffs, something like that for his career.
2-2. I mean, not even close.
2-2. Sorry, 2-2.
Yeah,
he's looked really bad. He's only looked good one time.
But Paul, you can't sit there and say that he didn't take him to the AFC Championship game. When on Sunday you said he was the best player in football since like week.
It's a flip flop.
You can't say that.
Yeah, they caught him there. He'll come back in there.
You can't say that.
Ray, what are your thoughts, man? You've been quietly patient, waiting there in the corner. What are your thoughts over this Josh Allen debate?
Josh Allen, he didn't play well. Let's be honest. He should have had about 3.
One pick, he should have had 2 or 3 for sure.
He did 2 in the first. But overall, I mean, the Chiefs are just a better team. Like it was shown, like last week. Like what? They went up 9-0, and then the next thing you know,
nobody gave them a chance to win.
Sorry, that's ridiculous. I would say nobody gave them a chance.
21-0 run.
Declan, you don't count.
Like next thing you know, the Chiefs go on a 21-0 run, and it's 29-9, and then I'm like, all right, this is over.
It was over.
And they still talking about how Sean McDermott tried to kick a field goal from the 2-yard line.
Listen, but Paul, they just wanted you in front of the congregation to admit that you were wrong because you can't say that he didn't lead them to the championship game. But then last week, you say that he was the best
quarterback in football.
He was the best quarterback in football since October. He was. And you know what?
Okay,
But
so
why
you
did they
can't-
get
You know
there?
what?
Why did they get
Hang
there?
Hang
that
on.
doesn't make sense. That doesn't make
Hang on.
sense.
It does make it makes perfect. It makes perfect
No,
sense.
it doesn't.
It does not. You're shot, bro. You're done. It makes no sense. It's over.
Just say he had a bad game without a doubt.
Right, like we had a bad
I'm like,
game.
did I
It
not
is
say
what
he
it
was
is.
bad? He was bad. He really was.
All right, I'll wait for him to come back to give his reason. I think he's coming back in.
Nah,
But
that's
uh,
not
He's
funny.
doing this on purpose. There's like 7 of them.
So we got I guess 2 weeks before the big game. I know it's still early. But when we finally saw this is the matchup we're gonna get, what were your first reactions, Travis?
Man, I said it 2 weeks ago. I said the NFL win as long as Mahomes made it to the Super Bowl. The NFL was going to win no matter what. Whether it was Aaron Rodgers against Patrick Mahomes or whether it was Tom Brady against Patrick Mahomes. This is the best case scenario right here because it can be a passing of the torch situation, if you want to call it that, or it can be the old guy making one last stand against the young guy. I think it's going to be a terrific game. I think there are a lot of great matchups out there, and I can't wait.
Greg, what were your first thoughts when you saw this was going to be the Super Bowl 55?
I was very excited, and shout out to Ray Jarvis who posed a question, which has kind of been on my mind all day about which offense is better, the greatest show on turf or this Kansas City Chiefs offense. You know, they go to the Super Bowl and put up big numbers, and I think we got a legitimate, discussion between the two offenses.
Declan, what were your thoughts when you saw this was going to be our Super Bowl?
I'm going to answer Ray's question right now, and I'm going to say the Chiefs is the better offense.
I think it's got more creativity to it.
100%.
Okay, Declan, what were your thoughts when you found out that this was going to be the Super Bowl?
I was kind of upset, and I, crawled up in the fetal position because I was wrong on both of my picks, and that sucks. But from a football standpoint, I'm pretty.
That was on camera. I'm definitely recording that.
Please.
I'll show you what, please. I'm just giving you guys some little fodder there. I'm excited. It's Pat Mahomes, Tom Brady. I mean, it's just so exciting. I'll watch every snap as I always do, no matter who it is.
From the fields.
And yeah, I'm excited. It's the best matchup.
Ray, what were your thoughts when you saw this this matchup?
I mean, you can't really go wrong with it. I wanted the Rodgers-Mahomes matchup, but I mean, you can never go wrong with it. Watching Tom Brady in another Super Bowl.
If only Aaron Rodgers had a little help.
So he had enough help. He just didn't get it. I'm excited. It's always good seeing Tom Brady in another Super Bowl. Maybe this might be his last. So he's playing against the best quarterback in the league right now, who might end up being the GOAT right now with the way he's going.
Oh, let's not start that topic again, because we had some trouble with Greg about greatest and passing people in Super Bowl rings.
I think greatest and best is two
different things. Absolutely, for sure. Paul, what were your thoughts when you saw that this was going to be our Super Bowl this year?
I think Tampa has the ability to pull off what the world would say is the biggest upset in recent Super Bowl memory, going probably back to the greatest show on turf's failure to get it done.
Giants 18-0.
Yeah, I guess you could say that. That's up there. We'll make it a top 3 world-class upset if you want to rank them. Here's what I want to say.
Are we calling it that big of an upset?
Absolutely. I think it is. Here's what I'm going to say. As big as a game as Mahomes and Tyreek Hill had in the first matchup, which was like 2 months ago, Tampa still had a chance to win that football game, right? I don't think Tyreek Hill has nearly that type of football game, and this is why it's really early. Things could change, but I'm going with Tampa Bay winning the Super Bowl against the Kansas
Look at you
City.
giving out
predictions already, man. It's way too early.
Man.
We got like 3 more shows before we even get there.
Let him tease the people a little bit. Make them come back.
It's true.
Come on now.
We got like 3 more shows before we even get to that point. But hey, you
I
want to make
just
a
want
prediction
to
now?
say,
I don't know, but the way Paul operates, he might change his pick on Sunday.
He might. Listen, I don't know if you guys want to have a show on Sunday. There's really no point to have a kickoff show. I'm just going to have one for the Pro Bowl. I don't think that's even.
I don't even know what's going on with the Pro Bowl.
We got to get a mad.
I don't even know what that is.
All right, so we'll talk about it. We'll definitely talk about it in the group if you guys want to do a Sunday kickoff, or we'll definitely be here for Wednesday. But That would have been our last Sunday kickoff before the Super Bowl if we don't have one, because there's really no point to have one if we're going to talk about the game on Sunday itself.
Twitch it up.
Yeah, for sure. So Declan and Greg are staying on to talk some baseball with us as we transition. Travis and Ray, thank you so much. Paul, I'll see you for the.
Before you kick us out, y'all gonna talk about how nobody was elected to the Hall of Fame? Because I want to know what's going on.
That's what we're gonna talk about next.
Yeah.
We
Okay,
are for sure.
good.
Yeah,
We're gonna talk about the Miami Marlins uniform changes.
I
Old
haven't seen it
hags.
yet.
That's why.
Listen, Paul. I know you're on the winner's circle. Do you want to just stick around for this baseball one real quick so we could transition to that? It's up to you if you want to stay around for that one.
Did he just log off?
No, I think he did. Okay, you're watching the Sports Hit List by the fans and for the fans. Guys, I'll talk to you guys soon, and you'll let me know if you want to do a Sunday kickoff. Let's bring in Eddie. Greg is sticking around. Greg, you still here? And Manny Schefter's coming in. We're going to transition into some baseball.
Greg's got his camera off. He's changed into his Lindor jersey.
I'm sure. He got the Yankee shirt on today, this week. For sure.
I got a special one on, though.
How you guys doing? Manny Schefter?
Yo, what's going on, y'all? How y'all doing?
Guys, before
I
we
knew
start
he was doing something.
Yeah.
So
I got to shout out my guy. That's his number.
Before we start talking about some of the Hall of Fame, and I already know where that's going to go, that conversation. Hank Aaron. We lost Hank Aaron last week. Terrible loss for baseball, just the sports community. Greg, let me start with you. What are your thoughts on the great Aaron?
First things first, rest in peace to Hank Aaron. I don't think he's remembered enough. He's only brought up when the home run talk is spoken about. But it was so much more than that. When we hear about Jackie Robinson and what he had to go through, as a lot of people talk about it, like Jackie Robinson was the only one who went through that. The racial slurs. There were people. He was getting death threats for when he was about to break Babe Ruth's record. And he endured all of that and he kept going. And it's because of guys like Jackie Robinson and Hank Aaron that myself and my brothers are able to play this game that we love. So that's something that we are always going to appreciate. And it's sad to see him go. And I think that his number should be retired in baseball.
Declan, what are your thoughts on the great Hank Aaron?
Yeah, well, I mean, I like to call him Henry Aaron just because, I think it's always great to remember him in multiple ways. But he's obviously home run king. We know it. But Greg kind of hit on it. And I think it's important, especially in today's climate, to hit on it even more. I mean, this is a guy who, they were giving him death threats for, trying to break Babe Ruth's record because, God forbid a black man could break the record of a white man. This is a guy who his son was going to college. They had to have guards on him 24/7 because they were threatening his life and threatening to kidnap him. They had armed guards in the undercover in right field stands because they thought people would shoot Hank Aaron while he was playing right field. Obviously, he's the home run king. We could talk about his game all day. I think it's a travesty. They asked Hank Aaron when Barry Bonds was chasing his record illegitimately. They were asking him, can you follow around Barry Bonds? And he wouldn't do it. But Hank had grace and he had class. And he made a video for Barry Bonds congratulating him. And obviously, baseball fanatics and fans alike all know why that's so unfortunate. And that probably took a lot out of Hank Aaron. Also, he was even doing interviews in December. He was doing an interview with Tom Verducci in December. He was fine. He didn't look like he had any issues. And he just passed away in his sleep at the age of 86. So rest in peace to him. He was a great baseball player. And from everything I'm hearing, he was an even better man.
Eddie, what are your thoughts?
I'm going to piggyback off of what Greg said. I think that a lot of times because we see a great player, we don't put into perspective what he meant to Black Americans. As far as it goes, he was a pioneer fighting for civil rights with other athletes like Muhammad Ali, Bill Russell. Those are great basketball players and boxers and just athletes, but they actually fought. They were on the front lines fighting for this. So I guess a lot of times the sports fan that gets overlooked based on what they do. He's already a great ball player. I've said in the chat a few times, I feel that he doesn't get enough respect when it comes to the greatest hitters of all time. If you look at considering all of his all-time ranks for everything, 22 years in, but He's first all time in RBIs, third all time in hits, 305 batting average, second all time home runs, fourth all time in runs. That he was a hitter. I looked up a couple of fun facts just to see things I didn't know about him. One thing I didn't know is that the Braves offered him $50 more than the New York Giants, and he would have been in the outfield with Willie Mays. So imagine that, Willie Mays and Hank Aaron in the same outfield. And it was just a change. It was a difference of $50 that did that. He was a great. What I was reading, he was a great human being. When he talked, he sounded like a pleasant human being. And he's going to be missed. He's well respected in baseball, as he should, and in the world, not just in baseball. He should be well respected as a man.
One thing that's crazy about him is that I saw this the other day from a statistical standpoint. He had 715 home runs, and he had over 3,000. I want to say it was 3,780 hits. So he's almost at 4,000. If you take away all of his home runs, and he's a home run king, he still has 3,000 hits. That's remarkable.
It's amazing. Manny Schefter?
When I think of Henry Aaron, I feel like he's one of those players that people wish they were able to see him live. Like to fill up the seats and everything like that, you think about it. This man was the home run king. And like everybody has said, he had death threats and stuff throughout his whole career just because he was going to break Babe Ruth's record. I'm glad he broke that record. It just showed he went through a lot of adversity just to live and play the game. And then even after his career was over, he was just very humble. And I know a lot of players were able to reach out to him and talk to him and, get advice and stuff. Like even the power hitters of today, they probably definitely reached out to him. So, to lose him, you can say he's an icon. And, it kind of sucks that we lost him. But, and I'm actually on board with Greg. Retire his jersey.
Well, definitely rest in peace to Hank Aaron. As we transition now to Baseball Hall of Fame, that's always been a topic in the sports hit list streets that's been very controversial. As we get to this electing class for 2021, for the first time since 1960, no one will be elected to the Baseball Hall of Fame. The magic number is 75% of the votes by the baseball writers. No one reached that. If you look at who was on the ballot, Curt Schilling got to 71.1%, Barry Bonds 61, Roger Clemens 61, Scott Rowland 52, Omar Vizquel 49, Billy Wagner 46, Todd Helton 44, Gary Sheffield 40, Andrew Jones 33, Jeff Kent 32. Curt Schilling said today he's at peace with it and to just take his name off the ballot. Greg, I know you have a lot to say about this, and I know you've been adamant about how the voting goes. What are your thoughts about not having someone elected into the Baseball Hall of Fame this year?
The Baseball Hall of Fame has become an absolute joke out of all the four major sports. and it's because of these self-aggrandized writers that make themselves bigger than the sport. They've kind of used history as a crux for foolishness, essentially. And they've taken it to a point where there's no consistency in the voting. Like, I get it. They think steroids is a taint on the game, and as much as I disagree with Curt Schilling's beliefs as political beliefs, it doesn't have anything to do with what he did on the field, because the Baseball Hall of Fame has drunks, woman beaters, outright racists in the Hall of Fame right now. Curt Schilling would be no different. And as far as the steroid guys go, I don't want to steal anybody's thunder here, but if you have the commissioner who oversaw the entire steroid era, and you can't tell me during that era he didn't know what was going on in the game, because even down to when I was in college, guys knew who was taking steroids. You know who's taking on your team. So you're telling me the commissioner doesn't know? I don't believe it. If he's in the hall, all of these guys, A-Rod, Bonds, Clemens, they all need to be in the hall, because they put up the numbers that does, and Bonds, and they were Hall of Famers even before this. So let's put that out there as well.
Eddie, what are your thoughts on the Baseball Hall of Fame and not having someone go in?
I expected that to happen. I think it's a joke. There's a bunch of people who should have been in, but these writers, they're very self-righteous, and they consider these players a-holes because they maybe tried to interview them and they were in a rush and they said, "Oh, I don't want to talk to you today," or whatnot. What ends up happening is they create a false narrative, and with these writers now having access to like social media and writing, and having like Instagram accounts and Twitter accounts and stuff like that, they're able to post their articles for people to read who don't want to read an actual article, so they have more exposure. And one thing I don't like is when a writer doesn't put a Hall of Fame player in, they could say unanimous, like with Griffey. That's a joke. That's an absolute joke. When you think of players like Babe Ruth, unanimous. Willie Mays, unanimous. How are you telling me that these players, that the first unanimous player was Mariano Rivera? You can tell that people have a personal agenda. It's a joke. It's a joke how they do it, and I think the power should be taken from a lot of these old timers, to be honest with you.
Manny, what are your thoughts?
Every single person that does the Hall of Fame voting, which are writers, should all be fired and get rid of. Honestly, stick to writing. You probably were never picked to play baseball. You're probably the last kid to get picked over. And you're just, first off, you're selfish and you're a scumbag. That's just how I see it.
Wow.
Now, my thing,
tell them why you're mad, bro.
Nah, man, I get annoyed with this whole thing about the Hall of Fame. Have the old players do it. Like I said in the chat earlier, let's create a criteria of our own of who should make it or not. Because the fact that Barry Bonds, he's the new home run king. Why is he not in the Hall of Fame? My man, when he was on the Pirates.
Home run king.
Okay, whatever, youngin. Shh, I'm talking.
That's 100.
Anyways,
everybody
settle
knows.
down. Settle down. We know he's the home run king. Rest in peace. But we talking about Barry Bonds here. This man put fear in every pitcher's heart when he stepped to the plate. He has more walks than a lot of guys have walked in their own career. Do you understand that?
Some guys have hits.
Oh my, is that too? How crazy is that? So you have a guy like that, and he's not.
He was a Hall of Fame before Royce. Don't do that. He was a 3-time MVP before Royce.
Absolutely.
Exactly.
First 40,
he would not have caught Hank Aaron.
That's irrelevant because, again, he was a Hall of Famer before the roids even came.
Like Greg said, he won MVPs before he even took steroids. And how many guys in the Hall of Fame that have won maybe one MVP? And that's it. They didn't even hit 3,000 hits. I mean, we were just talking about earlier in the chat, Harold Baines is in the Hall of Fame. 2,800 hits.
He was a
6-time
compiler,
All-Star.
like you said, Declan.
Yeah, he compiles stats.
He played from 1980 to 2001. That's crazy.
He played 22 years. This man was in almost every single baseball game you can think of video game-wise. since Game Boy or Atari or whatever. Like, come on, dude. Like,
did he make MLB The Show?
I don't even think he's even. I think he's a card, a Bronco.
Carl, real quick,
but anyways.
just with the writers, right? Chuck, shout out to Chuck. He mentioned in our chat earlier, somebody voted for LaTroy Hawkins because he's a nice guy. Like, what are we doing here? What are we really? We not voting based on a standardized criteria, but because he was a nice guy, he gave you a couple of interviews. You're gonna vote for him for the Hall of Fame?
That's why they had to get rid of them.
Declan, what are your thoughts?
I actually have a lot of thoughts on the Hall and what to do. In terms of steroid guys, I think Greg brings up a great point. The fact that Alan H. Bud Selig is in the Hall of Fame and he oversaw all this is a joke. And if you're going to hold all these people out, yeah, Barry Bonds was a Hall of Famer beforehand. I still think he cheated and it is disgraceful. But I think that he should be in the Hall. And if we do want to bring all these guys, if we want to bring A-Rod, Clemens, Bonds, McGuire, Sosa, all these, if you want to put all these people in the Hall of Fame, put a plaque next to them. Be like, all right, these guys cheated. They did steroids.
They have that already.
Put it right on already. For who?
For all of them. I've been to the Hall of Fame for the home run ball. For the home run ball for Barry Bonds, they put an asterisk on the ball. Alex Rodriguez, any accomplishment they had, but they have everything that they are in there for. They let them know that they were for performance.
Yeah, that's their accomplishments. I'm talking about their Hall of Fame plaque. Like this guy's in the Hall, like Griffey has a plaque. Like every Hall of Famer in the entire MLB history has a plaque. You want to put them in the Hall of Fame? That's fine. I think they should be. They're Hall of Fame talents. Everybody here knows that A-Rod was a top 5 talent of all time, and he didn't need steroids. He actually is an idiot for taking steroids twice or 3 times, whatever it was. He didn't need it, and everyone knows it. It was twice. But just put it on their plaque. Put a little asterisk on their plaque. Say these guys took steroids, and they're in the Hall of Fame. They cheated, but they're here.
Let me play Carl's role for a second.
Go ahead, sure.
Do you think guys like Ty Cobb, who were notoriously a shitty person, should get a plaque for all the things that they did. Asterisk, on their plaque.
You're completely right. And here's another thing. Baseball players, let's just be real, guys. It's the worst kept secret in the league. 50% of these guys cheat on their wives. I mean, Chipper Jones, do we want to talk about him?
Right. But the argument, though, is does that have anything? And I ask this question all the time. Separating the art from the artist. What does him cheating on his wife have to do with him playing baseball?
First off, why are you snitching on a homie cheating on his wife? Like, bro, you don't even know
in the papers. Everybody knows it.
No, but that's his business.
Wasn't there.
He don't know the bro code yet. He don't know the bro code yet. What I'm trying to say though is again, that doesn't necessarily
tell that to the New York Post.
Post has no code.
That's accurate.
I used to work for them. I know.
You as a human being has nothing. It's like Karl Malone. We all know what Karl Malone did, right? But he's in the NBA Hall of Fame. They're not going to stop him from going in. He still delivered and played basketball. So I think because of the steroid, because it had to do with baseball, that's why. But you as a person, a human being, unless you Aaron Hernandez, God forbid, clearly not. But as far as cheating on your wife and infidelity, that shouldn't stop someone from.
I'm making a point. If we're saying all these guys are bad, like they're making
a point for them to bad because it was to the game, not necessarily to what they did as a person.
So what Barry Bonds did was inflicted on the game. So are you saying for that reason we keep him out?
Right, that's what they're saying. That's not what I'm saying. I'm saying that's what the writers. I'm saying for the writers' perspective. That's why.
I'm just saying if we're gonna act like Barry Bonds was a bad person, I personally would think that Barry Bonds, A-Rod, all these guys are better people than some of the people that are already been in the Hall of Fame for years.
Also, Carl, can I touch on something with Bonds?
Go ahead.
That he gets a bad rap in the media, and say how he's an asshole and he didn't treat the media right. That's because he grew up watching media absolutely, kind of just go in on his godfather, Willie Mays, and treat him like shit. And he was like, I'm not going to give you guys the satisfaction after what I've watched you guys do growing up and so he gets a bad rap. And again, this goes back to the writers, like Eddie said, and them being self-righteous, holding a grudge on top of the steroids.
So let me ask this question before I let you guys go. Is there a way, is there a Hall of Fame kind of committee? You know that the writers make the voting. Could the Hall of Fame committee look at this and say, hey, you guys are not making right decisions? Could they get overthrown? Because I know the NBA, Basketball Hall of Fame actually has a basketball where it's a committee. So it's not writers who are voting. It's a subcommittee. Could they do that in baseball?
They have this thing where it's they do it like after a certain amount of years. That's how Harold Baines got in. And I think it was Alan Trammell and Jack Morris. They do this thing where like maybe 20 years after these guys retire, they kind of like look at it again and they put them in honorably, like as an honorable mention. Not an honorable mention. Like they put them in like well after the fact. They did it to a lot of those guys, like I said. Is there a chance that we see stuff in 2040 where everyone's opinion has changed and they're like, all right, let's put Barry Bonds in the Hall of Fame? First of all, Barry Bonds, Roger Clemens, A-Rod, all these guys don't deserve to be in the Hall of Fame until Pete Rose is in the Hall of Fame. And it's probably going to take Pete Rose to die for them to put him in the Hall of Fame.
I don't think he's going in. I mean, I
think he deserves it. He's the hit king.
Yeah, but he signed it. He signed the paper. He should
like that's a tough one. Like I could totally see your argument about the steroids and Bud Selig knowing it. But as far as betting on games and I think
he wasn't even a player when he did that though. He was a manager.
That's doesn't matter.
Yeah, but
that's worse. Like I'm not going to agree with you on that. Like I said, I have my own personal feelings about the steroids, and I totally see where you're coming from. But as far as the betting on games, they're never going to let him in for that one.
Hold on, but Pete Rose is an idiot, and you just said all these people separate the artist from the art. What does that have to do with what he did on the baseball field during his?
Because it has to do with the game. What do you mean? It's still part of the game.
No. What does
you were betting on games. You're a manager betting on games. That still has to do with the game.
You think that's worse than taking steroids and impacting?
Yes.
Not even close.
He directly can affect the outcomes of games because he was the manager and he bet on his team.
Declan, you need to understand.
Come on, bro.
Like
youngin.
He's a manager.
Greg, get your youngin, man. Get your youngin.
No. When he's a manager.
No. It doesn't matter. You can't bet on baseball games as a manager.
Well, hold on, Declan,
what did that have to do with any of the 4,000? It's not. It's so stupid, actually.
It's not stupid. It's really not. To be honest with you,
what does that have to do?
I don't know what you're talking about.
We know Barry Bonds when he got 700-something home runs. We know that.
You having me? Listen, I'm not even into baseball like that. You're having me argue for the point. Like, what are you talking about?
We are talking.
What are you talking about? Like,
Barry Bonds. Steroids impacted the amount of home runs he hit.
And betting on baseball didn't impact games.
Did it impact what Pete Rose did on the field?
What?
Did any of those hits come from betting? Yes or no?
No,
it doesn't matter, though. You can't do that as a former player.
This is not black and white. This is layered. Whereas, no, it may not, in fact, it impacted Pete Rose's career as a player, but what it did was it impacted his games as a manager. Because he can put guys in positions to lose or to win.
He's not getting in the Hall of Fame for being a manager. It has nothing to do with what he did as a player. It's stupid. There's no excuse for it, and he's an idiot for it. But that doesn't mean that what he did has any impact on what he did on the diamond.
Thing is, Declan, he chose to do it just like everybody chose to take steroids.
I just think it's his choice. Actually, no, never mind. You said they.
And when they gave him the ban, they told him to admit to it or you'll be banished. He signed off on it. He signed it.
I never said he wasn't an idiot.
No, I know. It's not even that. It's that he signed the paper banishing him. He did that.
He is a fool. Everybody knows that, but that's not the point.
So go hit him up, talk to him, and tell him how stupid.
I'll get him on the line. Well, can I add him to the Zoom? I mean,
you can go ahead, reach out to him.
I'm happy to do it. I'll go to Cincinnati, wherever he's living now. But what people manager, while it's so stupid and inexcusable, it has nothing to do with what he did during his playing career. All 4,000 and whatever many hits he has, the hit king, more than any other player in Major League history, has nothing to do. There's no trace of steroids. It has nothing to do with the idiocy of what he did as a manager.
It doesn't. How do we know? We don't even know.
Barry Bonds, when he broke Hank Aaron's record, is a home run. The home run record.
For the record, I think they should all be in.
I agree. But I've said that. I'm just saying, if we're going to talk about like what Pete Rose didn't even impact his playing career. It has nothing to do with him as a player. So
yeah, but it still has to do with the game of baseball, though. That's still part of the game. That's the problem.
And he's stupid, and it's inexcusable.
That's still part of the problem.
He cheated the game.
So did Barry Bonds.
But why is it just Barry Bonds? Why isn't
also when it comes to the steroid argument, I think some people forget that steroids don't make you a Hall of Famer. Jason Grimsley took roids and he stunk.
That's true.
I mean, Greg, didn't you have a consistent argument for like the past 5 years with Mr. AP over here regarding steroids and stuff like that? Didn't you have this argument already and stuff? And we know how that ended. It's ridiculous.
Barry Bonds was obviously a Hall of Famer before steroids, and so was A-Rod. That's
all of them. All of them were.
Every one of them is a Hall of Fame caliber player. That's not the point.
I think Roger Clemens might be my least favorite player of all time, but he's a Hall of Famer.
And I still believe,
guys, thank you so much.
Deserves it too.
Guys, thank you so much for joining me here. Greg, could you possibly stick around to fill in for Paul until he comes in on the winner's circle because he's not here yet? Could you possibly?
All right, not a problem. Wardrobe change.
All right, let me bring in Ray Jarvis, guys. Thank you so much for tuning in and always supporting the brand. And I'll talk to you guys soon.
Say less.
Let's see, Mr. Ray Jarvis is here from the gray area. How you doing, sir?
What's going on, man? How you feeling?
Good. I'm gonna have Greg Polius fill in until Paul comes in. I'm not sure if he's getting service on his Amtrak. So
I mean, he tried it. It was a very valiant effort with the service and everything.
Yeah.
Your favorite player.
Force. Yeah.
Your favorite player, bro.
So here on the gray area, I know I'm not on the gray area, the winner's circle. Ray, you had some thoughts on the championship series from this past championship games this past Sunday?
I mean, it's kind of upsetting that I have to pull up to see a Chris Paul jersey to set the tone for this winner's circle. I thought this was the winner's circle, not the.
That's a whole debate because Greg feels
Ray,
like we personally
I put this on just for you because I heard you was coming on.
You know what it is? God. Greg has a personal feeling about Chris Paul that we hate on him way too much. That's a conversation for another day.
I think I'm one of the most objective people on earth when it comes to Chris
Me
Paul.
Me too, but not a lot of flack.
You are, Ray. We've had objective conversations about Chris Paul. Carl isn't.
Okay.
But you know what,
okay.
but Ray, today's conversation was about the legacy of Aaron Rodgers, and some people like Greg feel that he hasn't had enough help to get him to where he needs to get. Other people feel like he's third all time in this modern day era of quarterbacks, but he still hasn't got over the hump to have more than one Super Bowl and one Super Bowl MVP. So what are your thoughts kind of with Aaron Rodgers, his legacy, and also where we rank him to?
Coming off of Sunday, he's one of those guys that are up there as far as people you have to go through in order to get to the promised land. I think what was his fourth NFC championship game that he's lost, third or fourth. So you as an NFC contender, you know, at some point or the other, you got to see 12 to get where you want to go. That, you know what, I don't celebrate losers here, but you know what, to be in certain conversations, we got to give credit. I'm never above giving credit. I'm not celebrating the loss, but to say that, you know, he doesn't deserve certain things. He gets love because you got to see him. I always respect people that you have to see. That's why, as much as I used to bash LeBron, I knew we still had to see 23 or 6 when the time came to win the championship. The same goes to Aaron Rodgers. Of course, Tom Brady. You got to see the other 12 if you want to see a championship. That's just how things go in sports. But to that game in particular, I felt like we were talking about it as the game was happening. There were turnovers. There were just missed opportunities late in the game as the pressure ratcheted up. And I felt like people were killing. I killed him at first for not running until I saw some replays. And I feel like he felt like Sue was closer than he really was. And frankly, I don't even think he gets to the end zone if he runs because Devin White was already making the play. He was heading in that direction. He would have caught him at around a 3 or 4 yard line. Maybe going for it would have been an easier decision for the head coach. But overall, I'm not mad at Aaron Rodgers after the NFC Championship game. He put his team in a position to win. And I felt like one head coach coached like it was a championship game, and the other head coach coached like it was a random Sunday in the NFL season. One coach to win, the other one coach like he might have a chance to win. That's not going to win a championship in the NFL.
And another thing nobody really spoke about was how big that Aaron Jones fumble was in Tampa territory, because that pretty much iced the game when we think about it.
Absolutely.
Ray,
absolutely.
So Ray, on the other side, Josh Allen. Some people are saying Josh Allen had a worst game of his of the playoffs. They weren't even expected to win. But what were your thoughts overall with that AFC Championship game?
I won't say the AFC Championship game went as expected because I didn't think they would get smoked. I felt like the Chiefs would win comfortably because the Chiefs are really good at football. But did I expect it to be at one point 38-14? Especially after the game started, I think it was like 9-0. Yeah. I thought we were in for a nice Sunday. This was the game I cared about more than the Brady Rodgers game. I was thirsty for the Bills and Chiefs matchup. I thought we were going to get a heavyweight bout for at least 2.5 quarters, and the Chiefs would find a way to put some distance in the fourth. I didn't expect it to get ugly. I'm not mad at Josh Allen because the Chiefs are good. We spent so much time focusing on Mahomes and the offense and the speed, and rightfully so, but their defense is very disciplined. Like, they might not be world beaters, and we're never going to remember this defense as one of the greatest of all time, but they definitely remind me of a better version of the defenses Drew Brees had when he won his championship, or the defenses that Peyton Manning had the first time he won a championship. Defenses that was solid, could get to the quarterback, did their jobs, didn't do too much to compromise each other, and they got off the field and get the ball back to the offices. And I think a lot needs to be said for their defense, who played a very disciplined game, played strong coverage. And as much as the Bills are talented, if you're talking about like schemes and play design, they're not very hard to defend when you have certain skills on the field. And when you look at what the Chiefs brought to the table, as far as in conjunction to what the Bills had, it was an easier matchup than we saw the last 2 or 3 playoffs of the Chiefs defensively.
What was your first reaction when you found out that it was going to be the Bucs versus the Chiefs in the Super Bowl? First initial reaction.
You know my reaction. This is WWE. A couple of years ago, the AFC Championship game, the young pup against the wily vet. He lost late. He got beat by a roll up late, and now we spin it back.
So is this like is this like Hollywood Hogan versus Rock at WrestleMania 18? Could you say that's what we're billing it as?
Yeah, this is it. I'm not gonna say something silly like the talking heads to say that Brady's legacy is on the line if he loses it. He's solidified. This is dessert for Tom Brady. Everything here is cake, okay? But I think it will go a longer way for what we expect Mahomes to be if he puts Old Yeller down. Y'all been hearing me say this for about a week now. If he puts Old Yeller down in the Super Bowl one final time and is decisively at the crib, a home Super Bowl, Mahomes is the guy. It's undisputed. Tom Brady will just be part of the ensemble in the NFL. There'll be one singular face of the league. It'll be Pat Mahomes if he gets it done this Sunday.
I mean, I think he's the face of the league right now, to be honest.
He got to share that a little bit. There's a little sharing going on.
To switch kind of sport, Greg, you have another point?
Yeah, just real quick on the AFC Championship game. The Bills, the Kansas City defense weakness was running the football. The Bills can't run the football.
Right.
So the game kind of went how I expected, being that they had no Zach Moss, and Devin Singletary to me is more of a scat back than a 3-down back.
Mm-hmm. You thought it would be a blowout at one point? It was ugly, bro. Okay,
even in my opinion, the only people that thought the Bills had a chance were people in Buffalo and Declan.
Well, at this point, I'm confused as to what team Declan cheers for. Is he a Giants fan? Has he turned his card in? Is he in Buffalo now? What is he doing, Declan? What's going on, bro?
I don't know, man. That's the Rook. We leave the Rook alone. But to kind of change sports, something that we've been talking about in the Sports Hitlers group, Shaquille O'Neal and his boisterous opinions on sports. And I know I went back and forth with Greg about this, about the media and what they say. Ray and I have gone touch about it, but Ray, what are your thoughts on Shaq and what he had to say to Donovan Mitchell? And clearly there was something I saw where Utah had like a legislative meeting where they brung it up as far as what Shaq had to say and his approach. So what are your thoughts on Shaq?
Well, this is the first thing I want to say is I'm on record as saying that Shaq is one of the biggest haters in the sports world. He is what he is. You think about his history going back to college, going to the pros. He's always had an issue with someone who garnered too much attention in his radius, and it got personal for him more so than the other guy. And it got so personal that the other person involved started to feel away himself. So we understand that Shaq has tendencies, he has ways. But then I saw a quote he made today about, Steph Curry and LeBron James are the only guys who've done what he's done in the league. Some could argue that KD has to, but I digress. That's another conversation for another day. But he's right. He does have the clearance to say certain things or to challenge players, but it's how you say it. It's a lot of times when Shaq is speaking about players, when we watch that show, Kenny Smith is the only person who ever seems like he's giving constructive criticism. When Chuck or Shaq are talking, it's like, all right, this guy's a hater. Like, your first inclination is to call him a hater. Your first inclination is to get offended. It doesn't feel constructive. It feels like you're making fun of me. You're mocking me. And when he asked the question of Donovan Mitchell, it was like, bro, like how you didn't even build him up. Hey, Donovan, great game. I like how you performed. So you did a hell of a job in the bubble, but I want to see more, Donovan. Can you take it to the next level, Donovan? I just asked the question Shaq should have asked. Shaq just basically threw him a curveball in a fastball situation, and it didn't even get over. He hung the curveball, and it got smacked out of the stadium. Like, what kind? It was a DAQ. If you don't know what a DAQ is, Google it. It was really bad. So, but for the Jazz to have a legislative meeting about it, it just speaks to this era. It's so soft. It's so coddled. Listen, a media personality asked a bad question. Go on with your day, go to practice, get ready for the next game. Why are we having meetings about it? Well, because Rudy Gobert's a scrub who's getting $200 million. That's why we're talking about it, because he's clapping at the Jazz and he's not doing it nicely. Don't have a meeting. Toughen up. Be better.
I think it was that.
Both can be true.
I think it was at their legislative hearing. It was brung up to the table about Shaq.
We shouldn't be talking about that.
Yeah,
I'm not going to ask you about burgers on a sports hit list. Why are we talking about that?
Greg, I know you have a vendetta against media. I know you have a personal vendetta.
We need to stop this because
you do. Because
I don't have
because a lot of our conversations you do. It's okay to admit
have a vendetta against certain narratives that are pushed for clicks. Let's make that clear. The media, and for years, and it started with cable news media, and it's leaked into the sports world realm, where sometimes the truth behind it doesn't matter. They push the story instead. It's the clicks. They want the clicks, so you'll read certain headlines that garner clicks, and that's what it is. And that's what I'm against. I'm not against. Bro, we are in this together. Why would I be against it?
We are. I don't know. That's why I wanted to ask. But what are your thoughts on Shaq? And I think you said it too. It's about how he says certain things and what he says. But again, keep in mind, not everyone could be a Kenny Smith, because you kind of have that bad apple. You're gonna have a Chuck. You're gonna have a Stephen A. Smith. You're gonna have a Max Kellerman. Everyone has a different personality to the way they ask questions.
Again, you could have a different personality, but Carl, you could speak to this as a person in media. You have to know how to put on different faces for different things.
Absolutely.
Correct?
Yeah, for sure.
Just because you a quote unquote G14 classified, he could kick rocks. I'm so tired of hearing that. He has the clearance to say these things. Doesn't mean he has to be an asshole either. Like Ray, the way Ray formulated that question would have been perfect. We would have no issues, none whatsoever, if he asked it in that manner. But to me, it feels like Shaq has to let everybody know how great he was every chance he gets, as if we don't know it. Sorry, my daughter's wilding out.
It's okay. Don't worry about it. It's cool. But I think, again, it's a matter to like his G14 classified. People who have accomplished certain things in their field, they're going to feel like they can say whatever the hell they want. especially if they're given the platform. Shaq's going to say whatever he wants. Chuck's going to say whatever he wants. And I agree with Ray on the point of Kenny Smith. Kenny Smith does a great job of he'll tell you certain things are right, certain things are wrong, and how he goes about it. But to me, the way I see it, it's just Shaq being Shaq. He's had beef with Dwight for some reason. He had beef with JaVale McGee. He's like the list goes on and on and on and on and on.
Being Shaq though, like why does he get a pass for that? Why are we okay with that?
Because again, he's Shaq. It's Shaq. I don't know. It's like
not a good enough reason.
And I'm seeing now, like the current crop of players are pushing back more than previous eras. Like when Dwight Howard was a young guy with LeBron and D Wade and those guys, they really weren't saying anything to Shaq. But now we see in this new era, spearheaded by the KDs and the Kyries and the Draymonds of the world, who they have time for Shaq. And in a lot of ways, Shaq can't joke his way around it. He has to double down to get to where he's pulling his resume now, because guys are not, Shaq, haha, don't worry about it. Nah, like, get out of here, bro. You're a hater. And he's feeling the blowback.
I think the best response, though, was Kevin Durant's postgame after the first game. He just gave him one word. He gave Chuck one-word answers because he knew where it was going to go. Because I think he was still like, I think that's the best approach. Is you're either going to A, call them out about it and say, hey, I'm not going to tolerate it, or B, you just don't answer them and just don't speak to them.
The Marshawn Lynch approach?
Yeah, pretty much.
And you know what the problem is as well? Those guys do a lot of yucking up on inside the NBA, right? And to your point, Carl, you mentioned this a lot about keeping the same energy. When those players pull up, the bass is not in their voice the same way it is when they're not on the set with them.
That's true.
If they kept the bass in their voice the way they clown them when they're not there, then I would respect it tenfold, because you really standing on your square. You mean what you say, but when these guys come, then you want to ask the nice questions. Then you want to talk nice and slap each other on the back. Nah, stay that way. So then when this player comes, then y'all can deal with it accordingly and make for good television. I think if these guys stood on their squares more, people will understand, all right, maybe they really feel what they're saying and they're not being haters.
But this goes back to what I say about how they just out there going for clicks.
Mm-hmm. Right. And you know what? There's a point that Chuck and MJ don't talk, because Chuck said something about his managing skills with Charlotte. And since then, Mike didn't like it, and they don't speak because of that. And he felt, I guess Chuck was a little bit too critical of him being in that management role. But again, to your point, Ray, I do agree. If they're going to keep that same energy in the way you're going to talk about them, don't switch it up when you're speaking on them, for sure. The final topic this weekend that Ray and I wanted to talk about, Celtic-Lakers this weekend. I can't forget that. Celtic-Lakers this weekend on Saturday. You know the vibes. You know what that means. You know what that brings. My two youngins, I've been consistent. I'm always consistent in saying that they are the best duo in the Eastern Conference, and I'm going to keep that same energy.
You scared me for a second, Carl. I thought you was going to say you always consistent.
No, I am. It's true. But I have been saying it, and I'm going to keep that and say that they are the best duo in the Eastern Conference. So I know we're not the reigning defending champion, the LA Lakers, but the way Jason Tatum, but the way Jaylen Brown and Jason Tatum are playing right now at a high level, and their numbers are playing great, it gives us a chance against the Lakers on Saturday.
So what you're saying to me is any combination of two from Kyrie, KD, and Harden is not a better two than what's happening in Boston? Or you're just not doing that? They're a trio and this is a duo. That's what you're saying?
They're a trio now. They're not a duo. Okay. So we can't do it. It's logical. They're a trio now. They're not a duo. So we have
to. Ray, it's crazy that you saw that from a mile away.
He knows me too well, but it's true. Hey, man, they're a trio.
We've been doing this for a little bit now. I know the game now.
But it's true, though. Are you going to classify them as a duo? No. They're a trio. We're talking about a duo. You want to talk about Jason Tatum and Jaylen Brown. No one in the Eastern Conference is better than them. I would say that they're the second best duo in the league to LeBron and AD. It's fair.
Ooh, I don't know.
You don't know.
I feel
disagree
like
with
PG
me.
and Kawhi might have something to say about that.
I'm sorry. I disagree with that. I'm still going with Tatum and Brown. Tatum and Brown are younger.
I mean,
they're more athletic.
Your biases. At least you admit it.
Do you agree?
I'm not mad at that. I mean, I want to first shout out the NBA for scheduling Lakers Celtics in between the bye week for the Super Bowl. They got one of their headline marquee matchups right in a nice little pocket where we're going to be thirsty for sports and they're going to deliver the sports. But I just want to be clear here on the winner's circle that when that matchup goes down, even if it's in Boston, you guys are going to get beat up. It's going to be a showcase of the immortal Los Angeles Lakers. And frankly, I wanted to set a tone here. You and I, we've been too chummy, Carl. We've been too friendly. So I have a challenge for you, Mr. Coulange. The loser of this matchup has to now go in the group or on the show next Wednesday, whatever you choose. You're the EP, right? And has to say that the other is the greatest franchise in NBA history.
Oh my
on
God.
Wax. So if the Lakers win,
wow.
you have to say the Lakers are the greatest franchise in NBA history, and vice versa. If the Celtics win, I have to come out and say that's the wager. It's fans, no money involved. It's free smoke.
Oh man, you put me on the spot. That's
keep in mind that the Lakers are on cruise control and not even playing that well, and they're still winning. They're still one of the top teams in the league.
You know what? I'm gonna take that bet. I'm cool with that.
My man.
I'm gonna I don't back down from challenges. We already know this. I don't back down from challenges. And like I said, the way my youngins are playing right now, Jaylen Brown made history, and we're not talking about it. Jaylen Brown, the first and only player in NBA history to score 33 points in 19 minutes. Why are we not talking about that? It's not even
obscure ass stat is that?
Well, it's not. It's a stat.
That's a fake stat.
It's not a fake stat.
Cole scored 62 and 3/4.
But we're not talking about. We talk about Jaylen Brown right now. That's what we're talking about. Bro. In 19 minutes, it's true. The only player in NBA history in modern era to score 33 and 19 minutes. What are we talking about here? Again, Jason Tatum to the point where Ray Jarvis is looking 7 years down the line to get Jason Tatum on his team. That's how good he is.
Jason is looking
come on, let's not sit here and pretend that Jason Tatum and Jaylen Brown are not the reasons why the Celtics don't have a Kyrie Irving, or they don't have a Gordon Hayward anymore, or they don't have an Al Horford anymore, because Danny Ainge has been grooming these two to be the focal point of their team. And now that they're here, why wouldn't it work?
Listen,
that's all I'm saying.
They're gonna run the playoff ouster treadmill until JT ends up in LA. Come on, just enjoy him now.
That's not true. That's not true.
Enjoy him now.
I can see him as a Celtic lifer. That's all it takes.
No, man. When you go into playoff games with Laker gears and purple on, just come home, my boy.
Listen, no. That's an honor and tribute to Kobe. Let's not do this.
He's gonna honor him by putting on the purple and gold.
Let's not do this. It was an honor and tribute to Kobe. We had Bill Russell wearing an honor and tribute to Kobe. That's what it was.
Yeah,
but honestly, we know
one guy's still playing, and his favorite player was Kobe. So
what? Can I ask you something?
So what? What's up? Go ahead.
Now, you saying that, they're the best duo in the East. Okay, that's fine. Biased as hell, but it's fine. However, Lakers got better as a defensive team as opposed to last year. How do you think your young duo is going to fare against those wings, those defensive wings?
I think defensively, we got a little bit better. Not as better as I would like us to get. Tristan Thompson in the middle definitely does help. Jaylen Brown is a great defender. And I think once you get those two going, it's very tough to stop them. Yeah, and also Kemba Walker too. Kemba Walker is a little bit inconsistent as of late. He's coming back off a knee issues. Last year we were still able to beat the Lakers at home last year. So I'm not too worried about it, because again, once those two guys get going, it's kind of hard to stop them.
Also, like I said, this is a different Laker team.
I don't care about that.
Shout out to Kemba. You don't even care about Kemba, do you? Huh?
No, I do care about Kemba. I do care. Again, Kemba's coming off an injury, and Kemba's working himself back into the lineup. I do care about Kemba. I'm not saying I don't care about him.
Kemba's the only shot y'all got. All right, Kemba's the only shot y'all got. So first of all, I want to say thank you to all of my brothers for holding down the winner's circle in my technically disadvantaged location. But with the iPhone 12 Pro, anything is possible, B. You know what I'm saying? So I'm back. Headphones is gone. I got an analog. The Bluetooth went out, but I got the landline joints. So thank y'all. But the reason why I want to tell you Kim is your only chance, Carl, is Jaylen Brown at times historically in the playoffs have self-checked himself. We've seen him multiple times. He starts to fall in love with the three-point shot. I think what makes him dynamic is off the bounce, he goes away from that game, right? Jason Tatum, I love that kid. He a bit of a roller coaster though, right? Like against Miami, he was up, he was down, bro. Kemba, I felt like y'all chucked in the playoffs last year. And I think Kemba is the one guy, and we know where the weaknesses lie defensively for most teams, especially obviously the Lakers. The biggest concern was off the bounce. Kemba has the ability, if he's running that pick and roll, and he's slicing and dicing like the Kemba I know, you know what I'm saying? That's the only threat, I think, to the Lakers. But I don't think y'all have an answer at all for AD. Like, Tristan Thompson is not enough. Daniel Tice is a joke, you know what I'm saying? He dropping 20 for y'all. That's a joke, you know what I'm saying? So when I think about y'all still don't have an answer for LeBron, right? Like he gonna bully y'all.
Listen,
like LeBron cooks y'all, and then you got
the
AD,
Warriors
bro.
the Warriors were down 20 against the Lakers, and they came back and won. And
That's
you're telling
a fluke
me,
game, bro.
And you're telling me that my team doesn't have a legit chance of beating the Lakers in the regular season game. What are you talking about?
So here's what I'm gonna tell you, Carl. To answer your question, the Lakers losing a lead to Golden State in an unwatched match is not the same as them getting up ready to go against the East's best team. So what they do tonight against Philly, what they do this week against y'all, what they do down the road against Brooklyn, those are prime time, stand up, let's show out. We all playing matchups, bro. You're going to get the Lakers best. And,
all right, just keep in mind, though, that they're on a 7. But just keep in mind, though, they're on a 7. I guess it's the Grammy road trip, you'd like to call it at this point in time. They're on a 7-game road trip.
Not an impact, because the fans ain't there, bro. You know what I'm saying? These are free trips.
That changes things. I did say the Lakers are on cruise control. They chilling.
Again?
Cruise control.
The Lakers are on cruise control, bro.
So what does that mean? I don't understand.
If you watched them play, right? It's not the same intensity that we saw in the playoffs. They're going through, like they were up on Chicago by 30 in the second quarter. Chilling,
bro. Crazy.
So you're saying that, but again, you're saying a team as talented as my team is gonna be down by 30. I'm
not saying that. He didn't say that.
I'm still not understanding what you're saying about them being on cruise control.
If the Lakers decided they want to get up for the Celtics, that the Celtics are in trouble.
Trouble. That's what I'm saying. That's what Greg's saying. They are in trouble, bro. If there's a get up game, it's trouble. That's all I'm saying.
Like, I think maybe there's been 1 or 2 games where the Lakers have really turned it up this year, and they're still one of the best teams in the league.
Yeah.
Like what they did to Milwaukee, that was a get up game.
Yeah.
I mean, Milwaukee made it a little close, but I felt like they never had a chance, bro. Like.
Well, we'll wait and see that game on Saturday. It's at 8:30 on ABC. Any other thoughts around the association? Are the Jazz a threat at all? The Jazz are on a winning streak. Utah Jazz.
No,
I'm asking you a fair question. They're on a winning streak. They're playing pretty well. I think they have the third best record in the Western Conference right now. Yeah,
that's pretty good. Good for them. No, I'm not worried about the Jazz.
Are you worried about?
Well, you know what?
Well, you know what, Ray Jarvis? Are you worried about anyone aside from? I guess the Nets and the Clippers would be your 2 teams that you'd say you'd be concerned about, right?
I'm not even worried about the Clippers.
Yeah, I'm not
worried about the Clippers.
I'm looking at the finals. I'm not looking at the Western Conference. If Klay Thompson was healthy, it would be the Warriors, but he's not healthy, so I'm looking at the finals.
I feel like I respect that. Honestly.
I got a question though. What is Cousin Adam gonna do about all these postponed games?
Whew.
That's why he didn't schedule. To answer, that's why the second half of the season hasn't been scheduled yet.
Right.
Because I think they're going to take a look at how many games have been postponed, and then that's going to determine how the second half schedule has been released.
I really think they should look into how the NHL did it with the kind of semi-bubble and regional bubbles and limit travel, because not only does it suck for us fans that, we can't see. Granted, like I said in the beginning, if they canceled it, I'm not going to be mad either way. But if they're going to play, I want to see it. But it's killing my fantasy team.
That's the only reason. I knew that's what you were going to say. I knew that's what you were going to say. That's the only reason you care.
Can I add to that, though? Right? My biggest concern with the NBA in the ridiculous postponements, because it's getting crazy. I mean, Jimmy Butler ain't playing like a month, bro. You know what I'm saying? My issue is I feel like
had like 6-7 games postponed.
Yeah, Washington. I just feel like the NBA. Maybe I didn't read it good, right? But the centralized bubble thing, I'm no expert. I do know logistics, but we got 3 quadrants in the world, that the U.S. that the NBA could be stationed out of, right? You obviously got New York. You got somewhere in Texas, whether it's Dallas Stadium or the Spurs, and then you go out to Staples. That's where you hold all your games. It's 3 massive cities, you know what I'm saying? And that's where it has to be, because this is crazy, bro. This, as a diehard sports fan, I don't even love what I'm watching, because I don't want to see Kendrick.
If you look at Washington Wizards box score last night, you don't know 80% of the roster.
Exactly.
Yeah.
Westbrook looks lost out there.
But you know what, guys? This was inevitable.
Trash.
Like, what's really the solution, though? At the end of the day, they knew this was going to be a situation, and players weren't willing to go back into a bubble to be away from their families. Like, they don't want to do it.
Could I say that Adam Silver is a little too relaxed? Because the NFL doesn't have this problem.
Yeah.
So it's Uncle Adam and the rules surrounding the NBA players a little too calm, right? You look at Seth Curry testing positive. He's on the sideline with his mask down, giving guys a hug in games he's not even playing. So is the NBA strategy an issue? Is my question, right? And we all laughed at Kyrie, but maybe he was right, bro. You know what I'm saying? Because the NFL is serious.
What makes sense don't always make sense. You know what I'm saying?
You know,
like
that's true.
Money's always gonna talk.
Yeah, money does talk. That's what it comes down to.
And the NFL making money, baby. I mean,
but remember early in the NFL season, they had similar issues. There was a lot of guys coming down with COVID the first 8 weeks of the season. So it's not much of a difference here.
In the beginning, that's facts. But you know what the NFL did early? By week 4, shut it down. There'll be no kicking it. There'll be no having a great time. If you play on a national football team, it's a wrap, bro.
All right, guys. Any final thoughts here on the winner's circle to wrap up, Ray?
I'll see you this weekend, Carl.
All right. And to make it clear again, the loser has to say that the other franchise is the best franchise in NBA history, correct?
Yes. Greatest.
Yes. Okay. All right. Greg, any final thoughts?
I think you should set up a watch party in the group for this game just because it is bet.
We'll see about that. And I didn't forget our little debate the other day too that we had about the entire ring argument in the NFL.
Bro, you was wilding. You needed to.
I know what I was saying. I
didn't even say the GOAT thing. That was Jaws.
It's not GOAT.
That was me.
Right. No, that's not what I'm trying to say. I'm trying to say is that I believe the NFL players it's a double standard because we sit here and talk about Super Bowl appearances and Super Bowl rings for NFL players. But when we try to do the same thing with the NBA, you tell us it's an individual game. It's not. It's a team game and not an individual. That's the only point I was trying to make.
No, and I'm telling you, you're wrong. I came on this show and debated you how in the NBA they focus more on that than anything. So why would I then say they focus on that in the?
I was trying to say, again, you don't focus on that in the NFL though. That's what I'm trying to say. You don't though. That was my point.
But Greg wasn't even focusing on that. He was just saying that this is what he's done thus far, and I was like, based on what he's done thus far, he's on the GOAT track.
Right.
That's all I was saying.
No, but then Greg also said he's passed this person in rings. And
I said that's crazy because he's only been in the league for 3 years as a starter.
He's just saying at the quarterback position, which is the be all end all. He's done more than some of the most notable quarterbacks in the league. That's all he's saying.
Right, but my point to that was, isn't that a team accomplishment? The Super Bowls, do we not talk about that?
It's a team accomplishment, but the quarterback is the most heaviest weighted position in many sports.
Okay, that's all I'm saying. I just want it to be called down the middle and fair.
You can't do that in sports. It's not linear.
Oh my God! Oh
you
man,
you can't.
Because
certain things you can, but especially when it comes to Super Bowl appearances and the parity that is the NFL, there's only one Brady. For all other Brady's, there's a bunch of guys who might have 1 or 2 or 3 appearances. But you think about the NBA, when you have a great team, you're going to the finals, and then you're going to go again, and then you're going to go again, you're going to go again.
But NFL, it's also
you can get caught slipping in the wild card round.
Correct, but it also, as much as you say we have the quarterback, we do have great players who put those teams in positions to be in the finals. For example, you have
but you can
LeBron,
win in the NFL with a piss poor defense if you have an elite quarterback. You can't say the same going the other way.
Okay,
not in this era.
Okay, fair. All right, Greg, any final thoughts besides that?
No. I'm just ready for that watch party, honestly.
You guys take care. Ray, you want to give a shout out to your podcast so everyone can check it out?
New Gray Area is dropping tomorrow. Barclays versus Bozos, aka Nets versus Knicks.
I want to see this one, man.
I got a Knicks fan coming on there. We're gonna have it out about this. New Rap Roundtable's coming next Wednesday, so things are moving.
Listen, I will be tuned into that one because the Knicks are playing well, man. I think they had the #1 ranked defense in the league. I don't know if they still do. They are playing well, and the only reason I'm on the Knicks bandwagon is for my pops. My pops is 65 years old, and I'd like to see him be happy and see a championship.
Damn, pops! Don't do this to me, pops. I want to love your pops. Don't make me feel bad about the Knicks right now, man.
Can I tell you, abandoning the Knicks has been the best thing for my stress levels during the NBA season ever.
But they're playing they're playing 500 basketball right now, though. So you can't be really mad at them.
I'm still in Knicks groups, right? I'm still in Knicks groups.
Yes.
And you got to see some of the ridiculousness that I see in these groups.
Yeah, it's not the team, it's the fans. Some of the fans are a little bit above and beyond with some of the outtakes.
They don't know how to handle success. As soon as they win 2-3 games, it's playoffs, it's finals, it's this, is that. This person's trash, their guys are good. They make me sick.
All right. Well, make sure you tune in to the Gray Area to listen to that. I can't wait for that. You guys take care. Make sure you tune into the Sports Hit List by the fans and for the fans. I'll talk to you guys soon. Take care.
Yes, sir.